Have you ever found yourself pouring your heart and soul into someone, only to feel invisible in return? Like no matter how much you give, they just don't see your worth? It's one of the most frustrating and confusing feelings in the world, isn't it? You start questioning yourself, wondering, what am I doing wrong? But here's the truth. What if the problem isn't with you? What if, instead of trying to convince someone to see your value, you could shift the energy and make them become obsessed with you without ever needing to chase them again? In today's video, we're going to dive deep into exactly how you can flip the script. I'm going to show you how to take back your power, stop seeking validation, and use mindset shifts and proven psychological principles to turn the tables. And don't worry, this isn't about manipulation or games. It's about reclaiming your worth and letting that natural confidence draw people in. So, if you're ready to stop feeling undervalued and start living in a way that makes others recognize your true worth, stick around. Because we're about to embark on a journey that's all about self-empowerment, subtle strategy, and lasting change. Let's take a moment to really explore why someone might not be valuing you the way you deserve. It's a tough pill to swallow, but sometimes people don't appreciate what they have until it's no longer within their reach. They might be taking you for granted, assuming that your attention, your care, and your love are always going to be there, no matter what. And as a result, they stop seeing your true worth. Here's the thing. When you're constantly chasing someone's approval, it actually sends the opposite message of what you intend. You're showing them that your value is tied to how they see you, rather than how you see yourself. This desperate pursuit of their validation can inadvertently lower your perceived value in their eyes. It's like you're telling them, I'm not enough on my own, so I need you to validate me. And when they feel like they have that power over you, they stop valuing you. I know this is painful. It's incredibly frustrating and hurtful to give so much of yourself, only to feel like it's not being reciprocated. It can make you question everything, your self-worth, your choices, even your own identity. And that kind of emotional turmoil is exhausting. But I want you to know that you're not alone in this. So many of us have been in that place, feeling undervalued and unappreciated. And it's okay to feel hurt, to feel frustrated, even to feel angry. Those emotions are valid. But here's the good news. Understanding why this happens is the first step to reclaiming your power. Once you recognize that their lack of value is more about them, and the dynamic you've inadvertently allowed to develop, you can begin to shift that dynamic. And that's exactly what we're going to focus on next. How to change the way you show up so that they start to see your worth, and yes, even become obsessed with you. Now that we've unpacked why they might not be valuing you, it's time to focus on what really matters, you. Because here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing their approval and start focusing on yourself, your happiness, your growth, that's when they'll begin to notice your value. When you value yourself, it sets a powerful tone that others can't help but respond to. This step is all about reclaiming your power by shifting the focus inward. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't come from how someone else sees you. It comes from within. And when you truly embrace that, the energy you project changes. Suddenly, you're not someone who's waiting around for validation. You're someone who is living their life, thriving, and becoming the best version of themselves. And trust me, that kind of energy is magnetic. One of the best ways to do this is through self-improvement. I want you to dive into your passions. What lights you up? What have you been neglecting in yourself because you've been too focused on someone else? It could be anything. Starting that hobby you've been putting off, working on your fitness, or spending more time with friends who uplift you. Surround yourself with people who actually appreciate and support you. And as you do this, you'll notice a shift in your energy. You'll feel lighter, more fulfilled, and most importantly, more confident in your own worth. It's important to remember that the validation you seek shouldn't come from them, or anyone else for that matter. It needs to come from within. When you start finding that validation inside yourself, everything changes. You stop needing their approval to feel good about who you are. And here's the irony. The less you need their validation, the more they'll start seeking yours. Why? Because confident, self-assured people are attractive. They're compelling. And that's exactly what you'll become when you start prioritizing your own happiness and growth. So, let's make this clear. Your journey to making someone obsessed with you doesn't begin with them. It begins with you. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. And when you do that, you'll notice that not only do they start paying attention, but they'll also start seeing the value they've been missing all along. Now that you've started focusing on yourself and building up your confidence, it's time to introduce one of the most powerful principles in human psychology: scarcity. You see, people are hardwired to want what they can't easily have. It's just part of our nature. When something or someone feels out of reach, we tend to place a higher value on it. And when you make yourself less available, you're creating that sense of scarcity. It makes them realize that they can't take you for granted, and it shifts the dynamic in a way that naturally increases your perceived value. Think about it. When you're constantly available, constantly texting first, or always ready to drop everything for them, you're sending the message that they have easy access to you anytime they want. And as much as we hate to admit it, when something is too easy to get, it's not always appreciated. So, here's what I want you to do. Start pulling back just a little. Create some space. Let them feel what it's like when you're not constantly there. Stop texting them first. Don't be the one to always initiate plans or check in. Let them wonder what you're up to. Let them miss you. That mystery can be incredibly powerful because it introduces uncertainty into their mind. Suddenly, they're not so sure if you're still as interested or if you're drifting away, and that's when their mind starts to focus more on you. But here's the key: don't overdo it. Creating distance is about balance. You don't want to be so distant that you come across as cold or uninterested, because that could push them away entirely. It's not about playing hard to get to the point of creating resentment. This is about giving just enough space for them to recognize your absence and appreciate your presence more when you are around. Think of it as creating a healthy boundary that forces them to invest in the relationship. When you're no longer constantly available, they'll have to put in effort to reach you, and that effort is what starts to build obsession. The moment they feel like they might be losing you is when they'll begin to realize just how much they actually value you. So, don't be afraid to create a little distance. Allow yourself to step back, and in doing so, you're giving them the opportunity to step up. Scarcity creates value, and when you're no longer easily accessible, that's when they'll start to crave your attention even more. Now that you've started creating some distance, it's time to talk about one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal: reverse psychology. This isn't about manipulation. It's about subtly shifting the dynamic so that they begin to pursue you, rather than the other way around. You see, the more you chase someone, the more they tend to pull away. It's just how human nature works. But when you pull back instead, when you stop showing so much interest, something fascinating happens. They start to wonder why, and that curiosity triggers their need to seek your attention. The key here is to change the energy between you two. Instead of always being the one who shows interest, stop. Let them feel the absence of your attention. When they realize you're not chasing them, it taps into their fear of losing you, and suddenly, they feel the need to chase you instead. It's a simple shift, but it's incredibly effective in making them reevaluate how they see you. One effective technique you can use is mirroring their behavior. If they seem indifferent or distant, match their energy. Don't try to compensate by showing more interest, that only makes them feel like they're in control. Instead, pull back just as much as they do. This creates balance and ensures that you're not overinvesting in someone who isn't putting in the same effort. It also sends a subtle message that you're not dependent on their attention or validation to feel good about yourself. Another important aspect of this is controlling your emotional responses. When they start to notice your shift, they may test you, maybe by ignoring you or acting colder to see how you'll react. But here's the thing. You have to remain calm and composed. Don't let their behavior dictate your emotions. By staying centered and emotionally in control, you're showing them that you're not easily swayed by their actions, which only makes you more attractive. It tells them that you're confident in who you are, and that's something they won't be able to resist. Remember, reverse psychology isn't about playing games. It's about creating space for them to invest in you. By pulling back and mirroring their behavior, you're setting the stage for them to step up and start pursuing you. And when you stay emotionally grounded, you're showing them that you're someone who can't be easily shaken, which only makes you more desirable. Now that you've created some distance and shown that you're emotionally in control, it's time to focus on something that can truly transform how others see you, demonstrating your high value. This step is crucial because people are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence, purpose, and self-worth. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not only do you thrive in your own life, but you also begin to shift the way they perceive you. Suddenly, you're not just someone who is waiting for their validation. You're someone who's thriving, and they can't help but notice that. When you're thriving, whether it's in your career, personal development, or simply living a happier and more fulfilled life, it sends a powerful message. It shows that your value doesn't come from someone else's approval. It comes from within. And this kind of confidence is magnetic. When they see you growing, achieving your goals, and radiating happiness, they start to rethink how they've treated you. They'll wonder why they didn't see your value sooner, and that's when the shift happens. But it's not just about how you see yourself. It's also about how others see you. This is where social proof comes into play. When you surround yourself with people who genuinely appreciate and value you, it creates a ripple effect. The person who didn't value you will start to question their own behavior. They'll notice that others are drawn to you, and that can spark feelings of jealousy or even competitiveness. It's a natural human reaction. When we see that someone we overlooked is valued by others, we start to wonder if we've missed out on something important. So how do you demonstrate high value in your daily life? It's about taking control of your own narrative. Start prioritizing your own goals. Dive deep into your passions. Spend time with people who uplift you and support your growth. Whether it's pursuing a new hobby, advancing in your career, or simply embracing self-care, every step you take toward bettering yourself raises your value in the eyes of others. And what's key here is that you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. And that energy, it's irresistible. Remember, showing your high value isn't about proving something to anyone else. It's about embodying the best version of yourself, living authentically, and allowing your light to shine. When you do that, the right people will recognize your worth, and even those who didn't value you before will begin to see you in a whole new light. By now, you've put in the work. You've shifted the focus to yourself, created healthy distance, and shown them just how valuable you truly are. But here's where a lot of people stumble. When they finally start getting the attention they craved, they slip back into old habits of seeking approval. Don't let that happen. The most important thing now is to maintain your power and confidence, even if they're suddenly showering you with the validation you once sought. Staying consistent is key. When they start coming back around, showing interest, maybe even obsessing over you, remember why you started this journey in the first place. It wasn't to get their attention. It was to reclaim your power, to rediscover your worth. So, even when they start giving you the attention you've wanted. Stay true to your newfound confidence and independence. Keep focusing on your growth and happiness, because that's what makes you so attractive in the first place. And as you maintain that power, one of the most critical things you can do is set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't just walls to keep people out. They're a way of teaching people how to treat you. When you set boundaries, you're showing that you respect yourself and your time. And let me tell you something. When you respect yourself, others will naturally respect you more. Boundaries create a healthy dynamic where your needs and their needs can coexist without you sacrificing your self-worth for their approval. Remember, this is about creating lasting change. The goal isn't just to make someone obsessed with you in the short term. It's to build a dynamic where they respect you, value you, and recognize your worth because you recognize it first. So, as you move forward, keep those boundaries firm, stay consistent in your confidence, and never lose sight of the fact that your value comes from within, not from someone else's approval. That's your true power. Alright, let's take a moment to bring everything together. We've covered a lot in this video, but at the heart of it all, the message is clear. Making someone who doesn't value you obsessed isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about valuing yourself so deeply that others can't help but recognize your worth. It's about shifting your focus inward, becoming the best version of yourself, and allowing your confidence, independence, and growth to naturally attract the attention and respect you deserve. First, we talked about shifting the focus back to you, building up your self-worth and confidence. Then we explored the power of creating distance, using scarcity to make them realize what they're missing. We dove into reverse psychology and the importance of maintaining emotional control. We also looked at how to demonstrate your high value through your actions and social proof, showing the world that you don't need anyone's validation but your own. And finally, we talked about staying consistent, holding on to that power and confidence, and setting boundaries that protect your self-respect. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever used any of these strategies before? Or maybe you're thinking about trying them now. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. This is a journey we're all on together, so don't be shy about sharing what's worked for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you're not already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. I'm always sharing more tips and advice on self-worth, relationships, and living your best life. And I'd love for you to be part of this journey with me. Remember, your worth isn't determined by how someone else sees you. It comes from within, and the moment you start embracing that truth, the right people will notice. Stay confident, stay empowered, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.